Hello guys. Before we get into building some new features to our game, we're going to talk a little bit in this video about extensions. And I'm not sure if you're already familiar with it, but it's a very handy way to make code reusable and very easy to find as well. For example, if we take a look at our scanner, let's see here. Where was it again? Oh, in our shared, of course. In our scanner, we have a method which I probably want to use more than once. This is this one. I want to make use of the is in line of sight method, but not always within the scanner. But I want a convenient way to use the is in line of sight. So to do that, we're going to make an extension method, which you can use to easily make use of a method. Okay, so maybe a little abstract. Let's show you an example. Let's go to a shared folder and create a new folder here. Let's make use of Visual Studio here. Let's call this extensions. Now, if we create a class file here in the in this folder, it will automatically create an namespace for us. So let's create a new class. Let's call this transform extensions or whatever. Now you can see it already created a namespace here for us, which makes it helpful so we can easily make using statements like we have here. Let's get rid of the assets and keep it like shared extensions, and let's make this a public static class, and let's get rid of this, but we're gonna make a using statement for the Unity engine, so we have access to the factor 3 and transforms and stuff. Okay, now like I said, we have the scanner here, a pretty good example, but first let's make a quick example of a more simple extension for maybe a string. So maybe you have a class with a method, and we have a string variable called whatever. Oh, this is a static class now, so let's get rid of it for the example. So we have a string called whatever. Maybe it's even better to do it somewhere here. Test class. And we make this a static class for our extension. Now, we could do, you have, if we go whatever, we have a lot of methods here, which are basically the methods on which you can use on a string. So what we're going to do, we make a method or an extension method which we can use here as well. So let's make an extension here, for example, which says public static, and then we say it maybe returns a static string my extension. This takes in the argument of this string, which determines where you can use the extension method. Let's call this me, or maybe my string. And then we can say return my string, which always equals to the value which is assigned to the string, plus hello. So now we have our a very simple extension method here, but we could use whatever and then say my extension. Now it shows up, and I can call this method here, and now my new value will equal to well, you're gonna guess it, foo, maybe here bar. So the result will be foo bar of new value. Yeah, so this is very straightforward of a very simple extension method. You can also give values to the extension method, and then you can simply add those here. So maybe string combine with or something. Then we're going to say here my string and add the combine with. And now we have to add the combine with. So now it will be exactly the same without giving anything. Okay, I hope this makes sense. So this is basically an extension method in its simplest form, and we're going to make an extension method for the is line of sight, and we're going to use it on a transform because we are going to make use of the transform. So it's going to be an extension method of a transform. So instead of a string, we're going to say transform. Let's rename this to is in line of sight, which is the same as our method here. So we're going to say transform extension is in line of sight. Let's get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. And this will be our origin for the is line of sight checking. And we're going to take a few values, and one of them is our target. Let's see here. So we got a target here, target position, eye height. We can make an offset here. Field of view. So a float field of view. And let's see. We have our collision mask. So collision mask, layer mask, collision mask, and our offset. Yeah. So this is our offset, which we are using right here for our eye height. Yeah, from where the line of sight check comes from. So now we have 4 values here. Now instead of returning such a simple function, we're gonna copy this over from the is line of sight method, paste it down here, and make the changes to make this the way we want it to work. So the direction will be our target minus the origin position. So the origin and the target here. The angle will be our origins forward. And the field of view, we already got this one. Transform, it's going to be origin here again, and this is going to be target. Transforms position, we're going to add the origins position. We're going to add the offset and the origins forward. We're going to keep it at 30 centimeters here, and our collision mask. And we're not going to return a string, but we're going to return a bool. Okay, so very easy. Let's supply it with a bit of information here by adding 3 slashes here. So we're going to say check if the target is within a line of sight. Transforms origin. Target is the target, direction, field of view, check against these layers, and transforms origin offset. Okay, so and this is going to return yes or no. Now if we go back to our scanner, we can get rid of all of this, and now that we have an extension method, we are using it in a different namespace. So we're going to need to add the user statement to this namespace here. So let's add it here. Using the extensions we have just made, and then we're gonna scroll down to this in line of sight, and now we're gonna say here return transform. Now we have the is line of sight here with all the commentary we gave it. So it's going to be is in line of sight, return the target with the target position, with our field of view, our mask, and our eye height offset. There we go. So now we made our script. It's the way exactly the same, but it's much better readable. Even better, we're gonna copy this. We're gonna remove this method here because it's only used once. So we're gonna say here, if not transform is in line of sight, and then we're gonna change the methods here, or the variables here. So we're gonna take the transform's position, then the field of view, the mask, and our offset, which was factor 3 up. And this will do exactly the same as we had before, only much better, because we are now able to use this in line of sight method anywhere from any transform. So we can easily check if there's something between us. Let's compile it and see if everything still works the way we want. So I'm going to move in this line of sight and we'll start shooting it automatically. So we got it working here. So it's a very easy way to extend your classes with helpful methods, maybe helper methods even. Yeah, we're going to be using more of these later on, but for now I'm sure you can think of a few ways where you can use extensions. They are very powerful and you should be using them. Okay, in the next video we will add a way for our player to collide with, to take cover with objects. If you want, you can give it a try already to get started. I will give you a small head start of what we will be doing. So if I'm gonna add a cube here, because what we're gonna do, we're gonna make use of what we already have. Yeah. So let's scale this a little bit. What we're gonna do, we want to have the player take cover behind objects. So we're gonna look for any let's not give away too much here. We're gonna scan for maybe a class called cover, which is assigned to a cube or any object, and then when we collide with the object, or when it's in line of sight, so it's something we can use, which we did right here. If it's in line of sight, we're going to find out the normal of the cube, and finding out the not of the cube. We're going to find out the normal of the hit, which we make, and then we're gonna take out the normal and align our player along the normal of the object it hits. We have used this before in our projectile, I think. Let's take a quick look here. Yeah. In the video where we spawn our bullet hole, we are pretty much doing the same. We are checking if we are hit something, we get the normal. So then we can get our align our player to the game object we are colliding with, our cover object, and then we're gonna make our player only move left and right once when we are in cover. Now we're also going to use an animation which will turn our player around 180 degrees instead of rotating our player around, because we want to make use of the camera the way we have it. So yeah, that is what we will do in the next video. Hopefully you understand a little bit where we are going. If you want, go ahead, try. I really wonder if you can come up with something. and I'll see you next one. Take care, guys. Bye.